Hiya, it's Amanda here from Lolli Lulu Crafts and welcome to this month's Silhouette Seminar. And this month we are going to be looking at how we can weld different things together in our Silhouette studio here, and then obviously how that cuts out. Now, welding is a really useful technique and one that you will, I'm sure, like me, use over and over again for so many different things, and so many different elements can be put together and welded for different effects and different results. Now, a video that I've just put up, Silhouette Boat Card, I talked briefly about the fact that I had welded together two elements to create my C in there. So I thought that, as I didn't go into the detail on that video, that it would be a useful example of welding for me to show you, because you've seen the finished result, so you can see how it looks when it's cut, but you hadn't really been shown in that video how I actually achieved it. So if you haven't seen that video, I will put a link in the corresponding blog post to this video to that video and blog post, so that you can take a look at the photographs and or the video and see exactly what we did on that card and how a welded piece ends up looking. But this is how you do welding. So the first thing that we want to do is we need at least two elements to weld together. You can weld more than two, and again, if you go to that video and that project, you will see for the same C I also had a cellophane layer which then had pieces that folded behind my card, and for that I had at least 4 pieces welding together, so there were 5 elements. And if you add more elements, the actual welding part of it isn't what's difficult. It's working out how to connect what elements you want for what and where you want them, and to make sure they're overlapping correctly, etc. The actual welding part is easy. I think the best thing really is just to get on and show you. Okay, so let's just go across to here and grab my C. So with a lot of borders on Silhouette, you get a number of borders. So the first thing we want to do is put a box around them and ungroup them so that we can just grab the one that we want. So then click off it and then re-click on it and click on delete on your keyboard, or right click on your mouse and click on delete on there. So you can do it either way. And then grab on the border that we want, and then you want to adjust the size of that possibly, so you might want that a particular width. In my case, I think I had it about 7.5 inches, maybe 8. I'm not even quite sure on that now. So we'll just open our scale window. I'm going to keep the lock aspect ratio on because I don't want to distort my waves, and I'm actually just going to take it down to 7.5 for the purposes of this video. It's not important whether it's exactly the same. And then I'm going to click on apply. So then I'm going to click off my waves and I'm going to go across here to my draw a rectangle function button, and I'm just going to draw a rectangle. It doesn't matter what it is, and then we're just going to click on select button up there so that I can grab it, and then we're going to click on it and we're going to go back to my scale window. I'm going to unclick the lock aspect because I want to do my width and my height completely independently. So I'm going to have 7.5 and then 4. I think that will be fine. So we'll click on that, and then I'm just going to click on the lock aspect again. That's just in case I should decide to change it again. It will keep its ratio now. Okay, so then I'm going to zoom in a little bit so we can see. What we want to do now is make sure that this line on the sides and this side both line up perfectly. So we're going to put a box around it again, and we're going to go to our align key. And I'm going to align horizontally, and can you see if I do this so it's even more drastically apart, you'll be able to see it move better. So now I've put my box around, and then I'm going to click on align center on the align horizontal because I'm trying to align it left to right, not up and down. So I click on align center, and there you go, you can see how it moves across. Okay, so then I want to click off and click back on to my box, and I just want to use my arrow keys, that way it stays aligned on the sides, and then we want to go up till that, see on here we've got a line here for the top of the box, and we've got a line here at the bottom of our waves. We want to make sure that they overlap slightly. Now with something like these waves, there's nothing stopping us from overlapping them quite significant, you know, enough to be really sure that they are overlapping. But there may be a border where you need to be quite close, so it just depends on the type of border how far you can overlap. But the more you can do it, then definitely you are overlapped, then the better, because then when you go to weld it, it's no question that they are overlapped and they will weld perfectly. Okay, so the overlapping is the key to your welding. Okay, so then now we've overlapped, it's all lined up on the left and the right, so it's nice and perfect. We're going to draw a box around it, so we grab both elements, and then we're just going to click on this weld button down here, and bingo, look at that, the lines have gone and we've got one element. Isn't that perfect? So that's one. Now let's just show you with a slightly more complicated border. Not complicated in that it's more complicated to do, but just a more intricate border. Okay, so first of all we want to adjust the size, so let's just come back a little bit. So we want to go a scale, and let's just bring it down. It's just because it's easier to have it a precise size, because it's easier to remember that when we put our box. There we go. So that's our lacy border sized up. Now we want to grab a box. That's too big. Okay. Whoa, didn't want to do that. That's because I forgot I hadn't done my select key. Then we want to select it, and then we want to go to our scale window again, and we want to do 7.5. Apply. I'm not too bothered about the depth of it because I'm not doing it for anything particular. And then we want to put our box around it and go to our align window, and then align horizontally and align center, like so. Now this is where things are slightly different to the last time, because if you look here, we've got this lacy element. So if we grab off here and click on there, and then we start bringing this down, and let's grab that and then do weld, and there, as you see, everything disappears, and that's because our border is one element, so it's welding the whole lot, holes and all, so that makes everything disappear because it's welded it all as one to the box. So this is how you solve that problem, and it is really things like this, you just kind of think it through and work it out and you will get there. So what we want to do is only weld it actually to the outside edge of our border, because we want to keep all these inner elements as they are. We don't want these welded, we want them as holes, not all welded together as one group. And by welding them together as one group, it makes them disappear effectively. So what we need to do is click on our border here, click on ungroup. Now for goodness sake, whatever you do, don't move anything at this point, because you'll lose the design. So you've ungrouped, and as you can see now, all these little elements you can see have all got little lines around them because they're all individual pieces. So if I just show you, look, we can click on each piece individually. So that's what we want to do, and then what we want is we want to grab our box now, and we want to move it forward so it's just overlapping that line. So you can see it's only just overlapping the line, it's not touching those holes. Can you see? And then we're going to click on that. Then you're going to hold your shift key down and you're going to click so that you're only clicking the outside edge. Now it's kind of a bit hit and miss as to whether you've only got the outside edge sometimes, but you know, you should do if you just click over on this edge piece here, and then you're going to click weld. So by doing this, before we do it, I'll just explain what we're doing is we're only welding the box and the outside edge of our border, so therefore the inner pieces are going to remain as they are. So we're going to click weld, and there you go, look, all it's done is remove that line there. So that's just welded our outside border edge, and you can see it's slightly different colour red. It's like a reddier red, that's like a slightly burgundier red. Let me see if I zoom you in, you can hopefully catch the difference in the colour. Can you just see it's a slightly different red? That's sort of more darker red, and that's a more reddy red, so you can tell that that's what you've picked up. So then I need to zoom out because we want to be able to click around the whole lot like that, and then we want to go on to group, and then we want to group it. We don't want to weld it at that point, we only want to group it. And hopefully, yeah, sometimes you might find you've missed a piece, so you need to go back and just double check. But don't forget, if you move it and you realize you've missed a piece, just do undo, and then it'll put it back in exactly the right position. So that's how you do a more complicated lacy border, or anything of similar thing where you've got sort of inner pieces like this, and you put it together and you think, oh, I don't understand why that didn't work. Well, that's probably why, is that it's welded it as an entirety, including those inner pieces. So that hopefully solves that problem for you, and it's a gorgeous piece. Okay, so that is how you do your welding. We've got our simple welding and then a slightly more complicated welding, but as you can see, the welding process itself isn't what's difficult. It's just the prepping of it and working out exactly what might weld and won't weld. And if you're not sure, just put it together, click weld, see what happens, and then you kind of have an idea here of something that's more complicated and how to correct that problem. So I hope that's been useful. I hope maybe this has solved an issue if you've been struggling with your welding and wondering why it's been welding the whole lot. Hopefully that's given you some help on that as well. So I hope you've enjoyed it. I hope you find it useful, and do pop on over to the blog post that comes with this video, because I will put on there the project for the Silhouette boat card, which will show you the sea that we created today. All right, thanks so much for watching, and I will see you again soon. Bye for now.